teaching in the classroom, right?
Right.
Okay. So for a second, let's just go ahead and take it and think about it from the perspective and the lens of a teacher who isn't the best at building relationships with their students in the classroom, right? And through that same lens, let's look at a student that's quote unquote troublesome. Okay?
Right.
So, Brother McCarthy, I'm gonna ask you, when you were in the classroom, how did you best build relationships with and help facilitate the success for students that were quote unquote troublesome?
To me, the biggest thing is recognizing that they're people. Like, I mean, any other person or being that you come in contact with, usually when someone is acting out, there's a reason. I mean, if you got a 2-year-old and the 2-year-old is acting out, there's a reason why. The question is, are we patient enough? Do we care enough to figure out why? And the same thing happens, I think, with any other student. If a kid is acting out, there's usually a reason why. Are there problems at home? Is it something going on in their personal life? Maybe it's instructional. Maybe the kid feels as though I'm not prepared to be in this room and I don't feel comfortable. But the biggest thing that a teacher has to do is put in the time to find out, to ask that kid, hey, what's going on with you? Hey, to refer that kid to the counselor to say, hey, I'll try to reach out to the student. They're not really being receptive. You really have to be that person that is willing to move every lever to figure out what is wrong and what is bothering and hampering that child from reaching their potential. Is it a lot of work? Yes. Will you have to play detective and make phone calls and maybe talk to friends? Yes, but you have to put in that effort that you would put in if it was your own kid. This kid is coming in the classroom sleeping. There's a reason why the kid is sleeping. It may be you, the reason the kid is sleeping. Maybe you as a teacher are not enthusiastic about your material. Maybe there are lots of reasons, but before teachers fly off the handle and go off on kids, you have to understand why. Just a quick story, gentlemen. I had a kid that came in my class one day, usually a good student, but this particular day he came in class, put his head down. In my class, no, I have a no heads on desk policy. If you don't feel good, let me know. I'll write you a note to the nurse, but we don't do heads down in the classroom. So I walked over to him, tapped him on the shoulder. What's going on? Leave me alone. Okay. Went back to teaching, head still down. Now, I could have let him continue to leave his head on the desk for the rest of the class, but that sends two messages. One, I don't care about him. And two, that it's okay to put heads on desk. So in order to continue, I said, hey, class, read the next passage, took him out in the hallway, talked to him for a moment, found out that this young man's mother had been shot the previous evening. But he still found the wherewithal, the determination. He felt this school was his safe space, and that's where he came. And so what he didn't need that day was his English teacher browbeating him. He needed someone to care. And that's why a lot of our kids come to school looking for someone to care. And so I wrap all that up to say that if you want children to believe that you care about them, the easiest way to do that is show them that you care about them. Going to kids' basketball games, football games, showing an interest in them outside of the classroom is a prime way to show the kids that you value them as more than just a person on their roll.
So I'm gonna ask you a really deep question real quick, Brother McCarthy. But it's not too deep, right? Well, it's deep, but it's not gonna be extensive. Why? And the why is, why should a teacher care that much? More than just doing the bare minimum of a lesson plan, the bare minimum of delivery, and the bare minimum of grading. Why should a teacher do all of those things that you just did? Or better yet, why did you do it?
Oh, well, it's a simple answer to me, because kids don't learn if they don't feel comfortable. Like anyone who's looked at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, they know that in order for us to be safe and secure as people, we need to, first of all, feel safe and secure. If a child does not, they won't learn. The same thing happens as an adult. You think about the days as adults when we're frustrated or agitated or we have things going on in our lives. We don't perform as great as we should. And so children have even less control over their lives and how they can navigate some of these intricacies. And so the biggest answer is, the reason why is because kids don't learn unless we create the predicate conditions for learning. And part of that predicate condition is the kid has to believe that you're not just some soulless embodiment of knowledge. You have to be someone that this kid believes, cares about them on a basic fundamental level. That is just the nature of being a child. I think a lot of times we try to make school be college. School is not college. Secondary school, elementary school is not college. Those are not the same expectations. It shouldn't be the same format. And so when kids forget their books, we shouldn't be beating kids across the head for forgetting books. Give a kid a book. Kid don't have a pencil. Why are we browbeating kids for not having pencils or paper? There are reasons that these things are going on in these kids' lives, and browbeating them for it does not endear us to them. And no one wants to learn from someone who does not care about them.
So I just want to point out that quote is going to stick with me. Soulless embodiment of knowledge.
Wow.
Man, if that wasn't dead on.
Yeah, exactly. And just to get on what he was saying and to talk about or just expound on it, that many teachers also want immediate satisfaction or immediate action from what they do. So, hey, I reached out to this student. It's the second week of school. He just said no. Third week of school, he or she said no. You know what? I tried and I reached out. So many times with difficult students, I didn't make that connection until January or February because I had to be consistent. And back to what both of y'all say with your procedures about, like you said, not letting the head on the table and having those conversations. And it may not be conversation 1, conversation 2, or conversation 3, but you still make the kid feel that I care. And sometimes it will take many, many times, and then they'll kind of get to their mind that says, wow, this teacher literally gets on to me every day or every week, but they have a conversation with me. They're patient. Then they'll click. And every teacher's had that moment where they click with the student and then they automatically excel academically, or they become your best friend because they just want to wait and feel you out. And they really feel that, wow, this person really cared about me and this person didn't give up on me. And that's just for teachers. We cannot give up on these students if it doesn't work the first 2 or 3 weeks. And like when I told you in the earlier part that we got to understand, especially in high school, they are kids. They may look like adults. They may talk like adults, but they still are kids. And every student and every kid wants to be loved and cared about.
But you know, we as educational leaders too, brother, we play a role in that.
This is true.
Because we also have to build relationships with our teachers and recognize when they're stressed out. Because you don't know, it could be a situation and scenario where this teacher has reached out to this family and is being unsuccessful based off the information that's in whatever type of information or data platform that you have for those students. And so we have to be able to recognize that too and kind of take that off of their plate because, I mean, I'm sure all of us have had 30 plus kids in a classroom before, and that's tough to just like function. So I do think that we as leaders have to do that. And then parents too, we talked about that, where the first 10 days of school, it's suggested that parents reach out to teachers if you know that your student has a specific circumstance. Like I know with us, we had a very, and my son's only 3, so we had a very, very, very long conversation with his pre-K teacher so we could be on the same page, so we can just ask of that person's expectations of us, and we let her know our expectations so we can keep the line of communication clear.
Thank you so much for watching the Educated Exchange.
Now, if you like what you saw today, please feel free to hit that like button below, subscribe to our channel, and share with your friends.
Please comment below, and we'll catch you on the next one.